Hello class, my name is Carl Nelson and this is my Unit 1 video discussion for PM692. I'll be talking about conflict resolution. As it pertains to conflict is commonly experienced in most environments. Most people view conflict negatively because it takes us out of our comfort zone. But conflict can often lead to positive outcomes by forcing people to collaborate and brainstorm, which can lead to enhancing solutions for the company. After going through the library, I found a few different techniques and strategies to help with conflict resolution. First, I'm going to talk about conflict resolution techniques. The first thing is to make sure you look for a root cause in the conflict. That way, everybody is on the same page, and don't look for a person to blame. Next, you got to keep your conversations goal oriented. That way, nobody gets off track and gets back into a conflict. Also, you have to remember it's not about being right or winning the conversation. It's about uh, completing the conflict and finding a solution for the conflict. Most importantly, I think it's important to meet face to face. That way, you can hash out your conflict face to face. Most times over email, people go back and forth and never really solve anything. Ways to resolve some conflict is focus on interests and not the different positions that you have. It's always good to have a common understanding of each other and seek that understanding. Most times you're not going to have a consensus on the conflict that you have, but having an understanding of where each side is coming from often helps. And you have to be an impartial arbitrator in order to help resolve the conflict. A lot of times we also don't get the full story. We just go in blazing. So getting the full story is very important. And make sure you get all the facts and then focus on the facts. Next, dealing with difficult people and how to deal with difficult people. Most times you have to be assertive. I think being assertive is very important. Get your point across. They know where you're coming from. You know where they're coming from. Next, you need to set boundaries so everybody knows their left and right lateral limits. Uh, Most important, I think, is that you need to stay calm and focused in order to really deal with difficult people, because the more they get angry, if you stay calm, the better the outcome will be. And then lastly is try to see it from the other person's eyes, the other person's perspective, and oftentimes that'll allow you to see where they're coming from, and then it's easier to hash out whatever conflict there is and deal with those difficult people. Some different ways to diffuse difficult situations is first thing is you have to listen, hear where they're coming from, figure out the problem, and then focus on that problem and focus on solving the problem. And then ask for their advice to figure out what do they think is the best way to solve the problem, and then try to come up with a solution from there. Again, it's always important to see their point of view. That way you can get your point of view, their point of view, and then you can brainstorm on the best ways to defuse that situation. Some strategies when it comes to dealing with difficult people. Have them switch perspectives with you, or a lot of times you have to choose your approach before you go in with dealing with difficult people. And then the most important thing is start a dialogue. Talking and communication is the most important thing when dealing with difficult people. Ways to deal with someone that will not compromise in the end is sometimes you just need to break from the conflict and then come back after you've taken that pause and come in with a different approach. Another thing is to break up the conflict that you have with the other person into segments and try to solve each segment. That way you can slowly hash out small disagreements, and then at the end maybe you can come with a overall proposal that benefits both of you. And then you have to be positive during your collaboration. Always staying positive always helps. Uh, Thank you. I hope you enjoyed my video. Look forward to hearing your responses.